Okay, welcome back to another episode of WTF is Cooking. Food Adventures of a Comfort Cook. I'm Mary Coconow. We're back in my kitchen. Today we're making ham and bean soup. It has been so flippin' cold out here in Monticello, Utah. We're wearing layers and it's still going through. I'm getting ice crystals where there should be no ice at all. You know what I mean? Okay, so what we're going to do is ham and bean soup. It's a really hearty, thick soup. If you're an outdoor worker, you're going to really appreciate it because it's really going to bulk you up. The fiber and all the vitamins and minerals going to give you a lot of immune properties, all those antioxidants. I use this book, Better Homes and Gardens, biggest book of slow cooker recipes. As you can see with all my little tabs, I've used it a lot. Here is the page for ham and bean soup right here. And as you can see, I've got a lot of pencil markings because I never follow a recipe. I always change it. And I can make my own recipe up and never even follow that one either. I'm always changing it up. It's not like baking. Baking, you have to be precise. If you're going to change it up, you better know what you're doing. Otherwise, it's going to fall apart. With cooking, my grandma taught me. See these hands? See these eyes? These are your best measuring tools. Another thing, I've gotten complaints. Hey, I'm too fat. Never trust a skinny cook. They ain't tasting the food. So you're getting it, but they don't know what it tastes like. So if it don't taste good to you, they don't know that. You know, you see all those skinny cooks on TV? They don't taste the food. They've got workers in the background doing all the tasting for them and telling them if it's good or not. Pfft, never trust a skinny cook. All right, let's go make some ham and bean soup. First step we're going to do with this ham and bean soup is we're going to soak our beans. So we have 3/4 of a cup of our red pinto beans. We have 3/4 of a cup of white pinto beans. They're also known as Great Northern. We've got a 1/2 cup of yellow split peas. It's going to add a few more vitamins and minerals into our soup. They also soften up even better than the beans, and that way we'll get a thicker, richer soup. These are 3/4 of a cup of Anasazi beans. They're grown out here in the Southwest. It's sort of like a heritage food item. So we're going to put all of these into our bowl. And if you look at the combination, this is going to be really, really colorful. Look at all those beans. They're going to be really colorful. Who wants an all-red soup? We're going to take cold water, pour enough in the bowl to cover. Then we're going to cover this with plastic wrap. It's going to sit for 12 hours before we put it into our crock pot. Why are we soaking it overnight? We want to first off rinse off any dirt that's on our beans from being packaged. We also want to loosen up the shells, the coating around the beans. That way, when they cook in the crock pot, they'll soften up nicely. You won't be cooking a soup for 8 hours. Go bite into your bean and it's still hard in the center. All right, so these are going to sit for 12 hours in water, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so it's the next morning. Our beans were sitting in water for 12 hours. I have rinsed them, drained them and rinsed them. Then I rinsed them again to make sure I've gotten rid of any dirt, loose particles. We don't want that in our soup. Now come over here and I'll show you. These were the beans we had yesterday. So we have our pinto beans, Anasazi. These are our white pinto beans or Great Northern. And there's our yellow split pea. Now look at the size of them here. This is after 12 hours of soaking. They have plumped up. They're basically about double the size. All right. So yesterday we had our bowl. Maybe the beans were down here. And now they're all the way up here. So they basically doubled in size. All right. So here's our carrots and potatoes. We parboiled them for 6 minutes. And you just want that the fork can just gently go in there. But if you try to eat this, it's going to be hard in the center. Alrighty? This is our 3 cups of chopped ham. This is left over from Christmas. So here it is 2 months later. I've taken it out of the freezer, thawed it, chopped it up. Look how pretty that is. That's going to be yummy ham. And when we bake this ham, we just lightly seasoned it. No fancy glazes, because we don't want that gumming up our soup. And then here's our seasoning mix. So we have a teaspoon of dried basil, a teaspoon of dried oregano, half teaspoon of salt. You don't want to add too much salt, because remember, your ham from Christmas is already salty. And this is a half teaspoon of cracked black pepper. All right, so let's start putting these babies in. We're going to put our beans into the crock pot first. They're going to take the longest to cook. Even though they've been sitting in water and expanded, they're still going to cook the longest. So they're going to go at the bottom. Move that over. Next will be our carrots and our potatoes. Remember, they're going to cook a little less longer than the beans, but they still got a while to go. They go in. Our ham has already been cooked. It's pre-cooked. That goes on top. Alright, we're going to go and mix our seasoning up a little bit. And then just sprinkle this over. And then we have 8 cups of cold water. This is a 6-quart pot. So this is going to take 8 cups. The recipe in this book can be for about 4 quarts. And remember, I've played with it, so the recipe I'm giving you today, that's for what I've played with. This is for a 6-quart. And we're going to put 8 cups of cold water. I'll just pour it over. There we go. Just mix it to the top. Might want to push anything down. Anything floats to the top, just push it down a little bit. I'm going to put the lid on. Okay, lid on. Remember, I like to put my little handles up, get them out of my way. I'm going to put it on low. See you in 8 hours. We'll be having delicious ham and bean soup. Really hearty, really filling, and it's perfect for these cold winter days. All right, bye. Alright, welcome back. It's been 8 hours. Let's see how our soup came out. We've got our bowl all ready. Here's our ladle. Whoa, look at that steam coming out. We've got hot soup for a cold day. Alrighty. As you can see, look at that. Beautiful colors. Nice bright colors. Cold day, but this is going to make your tummy really, really happy. As you can see, I'll take some of the broth here. It's absorbed the colors. Remember, that was plain water. Look at those colors. Look at the colors of the broth. Look at that. All right, there's some of our veggies, our beans. We're going to put that in there. Wow. Look at that. Look at that. Is that the most beautiful thing you have ever seen? That is ham and bean soup. Ham and bean soup. Homemade. In the crock pot. It took 8 hours. This is going to be delicious. Now, if you don't like a thin broth like that, what I suggest is you take 2 cups. Take 2 cups of the soup itself. Get your immersion blender, or if you just have a regular blender, fine. What you do is you puree it. Add it back into your soup, and that's going to be your thickener. No reason to add cornstarch slurry, flour slurry. Just use your vegetables. They're full of starch. So is your beans. It's going to do the work for you, and you don't have to add ingredients you really don't want in your soup. All right, so here again, ham and bean soup. Look at that, baby. It's steaming. It's got carrots, potatoes, herbs, some seasoning, chunks of cooked ham. This is a hearty soup, will warm anybody's tummy up on a cold day. Alrighty. So, Food Adventures of a Comfort Cook, www.comfortcookadventures.com. And if you're seeing this video, go to my YouTube channel, become a subscriber so you don't miss out on anything. Alright, have a nice evening. Bye-bye.